I found this one is really cool. Popped up on Marketplace, I guess, about a week ago. And it was there for like the whole week. Really good deal, too. I'm like, there's no way this thing is still for sale. And I hit the guy up, and sure enough, it was for sale. So we're going to go check it out. I'll see if I can get in there and do some filming. If not, sometimes people don't like it when I'm, filming at their place and stuff. Then if that's the case, I'll see you guys back at the shop or maybe on the ride home, and hopefully there'll be a new bike in the back. So we got about 50 miles to go here. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, guys, so luckily we got in the shop. I'm here with Mike and with George. You do woodworking, right, Mike?
We do furniture finishing.
Furniture finishing?
And kitchens.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the kitchens and stuff. So Mike does similar but different type of work.
Restoration work.
Yeah, restoration, but on different kind of stuff. And he told me, so it's a funny story. I really didn't think you were going to sell this to me.
Well, I just want to let you know what's going on before you came out here with your money.
Yeah.
All right? So, I didn't want you mad at me.
I'm like, I'm sending him a message on Marketplace, and I said, is it still for sale? And he says, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'd like to come and look at it. He says, are you going to fix it or are you going to part it out? And I said, I'm going to fix it. He says, I want to sell it to somebody that's going to part it out. Long story short, we ended up talking on the phone, and it's turning out to be an awesome thing where he's really, it sounds like it's going to be really cool to restore this and see it return to its former glory. And one of his workers here, George, he was already subscribed, so it's pretty sweet. Yeah. So here's the KTM. You said it sounds like it was starved of oil and it blew up.
Yeah, it did.
You said you started riding, what, you were 12 years old? You started riding?
Started riding dirt bikes at 12, yeah.
Yeah.
On a Suzuki 50.
I almost feel like I don't deserve to ride this thing, man. I'm going to be the slowest person.
It's a good bike. It's a good bike. And it's got some good lineage, too, So it's been a race bike ever since it's been rolled out of here.
And you said this was Hank Knaby owned this?
Yeah, Hank
Knaby. Knaby?
Good rider. Real good rider. Bike was set up right. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he gave me the holy grail for this bike. There's like 40 pages of notes. I felt a little unworthy when I bought it from him.
That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
And this is actually really nice. They're saying like basket case and everything, but if you look in here, so you said you took this to a shop where they tore it down after it stopped running, and they kind of bagged everything up already, and it looks like they did a really nice job organizing everything. So, I mean, you guys that follow the channel, usually when we get a project, it's a total mess.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When this thing blew up and I was told it wouldn't run again, I was so excited when you contacted me and you let me know that my bike's going to be restored. And I'm looking really forward to this episode and seeing how it looks all freshened up. I did buy another one after this one blew up. So,
can we show the room with the 300?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to the bike room.
All right.
This is known as my wall of fame, by the way. Got all my buddies on there.
And you said this one over here, that's you on the front of a magazine?
No, just a page, Trail Rider magazine. I am one of the toughest in the East, as you can see. Yeah.
And this is what you're running now. This
is what I got after that one. I thought expired, but it's going to come back to life.
Yeah, man. I hear these 300s are awesome.
Oh, it's killer. I love it. I dig the two strokes. It's lighter. It's kind of more my style, Yeah. But that was a good bike when I had it.
So selling me the junk.
I warned you. I warned you. It's all good.
Well, dude, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for holding on to it for me.
No problem.
Seriously.
I told you it was yours.
Yeah, he said people were busting down the door. It was $2,200, and I was surprised that it was still for sale.
Yeah. Well, they're literally knocking the door down, and I said, George, if you want it.
Yeah.
Because you're the one I want to sell to. Because I want to see it restored. So every year I can send you this bike, and you can fix it up for me. Is that part of the package deal?
No. You got to pay me $2,200 each time.
Okay.
Mike and George were awesome to meet, but I've been here for a few hours, and it's time to get back to the shop.
Literally,
so nice to meet you, man.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm dying to see what the internals of this engine on this KTM look like. Let's get back to the shop and check it out. Well, guys, yet another basket case. We've got boxes and boxes of parts. Now, it almost doesn't even seem right calling this a basket case because the stuff is just so organized. Like I was showing you over at Mike's shop, I mean, they literally individually bag all this stuff. I mean, look at the transmission. It looks like they cleaned it. They put them in these nice industrial Ziploc bags. It really looks good. So I'm dying to look through those boxes and see the condition of these parts. We've got some stuff up here too. I see some nice KTM handguards. We've got the original KTM exhaust with this big ass. I'm not really sure what the purpose of that was. I remember when they started adding these onto the KTMs. I think it has something to do with exhaust scavenging. And then over here, we've got the booklet. I want to open up that with you guys too. And of course, we've got the KTM sitting right there. We threw in some extra plastics. Now they're used, except for this one. I think this one is actually, this is actually brand new. So that'll probably end up in the eBay store. That's a nice fender. But the rest of them, I mean, dirt bike fenders are so inexpensive, which is awesome. I just don't really know that they're resellable. So maybe those will end up being signed pieces or something for one of you guys. We got an extra tall seat for Enduro. And then on there is the skinnier seat. And man, I really just like the way that this thing sits. It's kind of, it seems to be a bit lower than your typical 250 and 350 dirt bike, like full-size dirt bike, which will be really nice for woods riding. And I'm not the tallest guy in the world either. I'm just over 5'9", so the shorter, the better. Especially because I suck at riding dirt bikes to begin with. Anyways, my goal is to look through these boxes, see what we need. I'm really just curious of what the condition of this engine is. You know, I heard the story. Apparently, the clutch failed. That caused aluminum shavings in the bottom end, which clogged the oil pump. When the oil pump's clogged, can't get oil pumped to the head, and the head was starved of oil. And, you know, the rest is history. Basically, the engine got fried. So it's going to be really interesting to see, you know, what parts are savable here. Let's just start opening this stuff up. I want to lay everything out and get a better look. All right, man. We've got our transmission. We've got our cam chain sliders, our shift cam, shift forks. I don't know if these are the actual KTM part numbers. Mounting handguard kit. No. So they were KTM bags, but still, nevertheless. Oh, here's our spark plug. Let's have a look at that. The spark plug appears to be okay. Got our water pump cover. Looks like this is kind of just randomized in here. Sprockets. Looks like some exhaust springs. Here's our oil pump. I wonder if this is still good or if it was just clogged. We've got our flywheel in here. Looks like our clutch cover. Does not look like that was damaged. Here's our outer clutch cover, recluse cover, nice. Piston and cylinder, we'll have to take a look at this on the bench. Looks like our magneto. And here's the clutch. This is what I'm dying to see. It's got a recluse clutch in there. I mean, it looks, from the bag it doesn't look bad. Radiator hoses, our starter, look at that thing, man, that thing is small. Dirt bike starter. It's light too. I am just so thrilled with the way this is packaged, man. This was at Solid Performance. That's where he took it to get it evaluated. Looks like we got our cases in here. Oh, wow. Look at that, dude. They've got the case bolts. Oh, wow. This is excellent job, man. This is the best basket case I've ever had. These cases look beautiful. And then our crank, I've got to feel it. Ooh, that is tight. That should be nice and loose. Look at that, man. This definitely needs to be rebuilt or replaced. Ooh, definitely. Probably saw some serious heat. And then, of course, our head. I'll take this apart. We'll look at it on the bench. Okay, now this is really interesting because a lot of this engine looks really good at first glance. Like they're saying it was a total failure. And I mean, I'm not doubting that, but sometimes when you're looking at things, looks can be deceiving. So the clutch pack is right here. Supposedly this is where the problems originated. From the outside looking in, it looks pretty good. So I want to take that clutch pack apart with you guys, going over the rest of the stuff. I left a lot of this stuff in bags because, you know, I can inspect the gears through the bags and it's really nice and organized. We're not building the engine right now, so I want to leave it that way. The transmission looks great. I don't see any signs of needing to be replaced anywhere. The dogs all look good in there. and all of the teeth look good. I like the way they put those rubber bands on there. This is really interesting too. So I'm used to working on Japanese bikes. This is so light. This has got to be made of like titanium or something, and that would definitely reflect those KTM prices. Really, really cool. This literally feels like nothing in my hand. There's the shift forks. They all look like they're in good shape. We've got the cam chain sliders. All this stuff looks to be in good shape. So basically, like, I'm just looking over everything, seeing what needs to be replaced and stuff so that we can order things up. Our flywheel right here. I checked the one-way bearing. Feels like it functions properly. We've got our magneto here. All this stuff looks like it's in really good shape. There's our clutch. We'll take a look at that in a second. This definitely does need to be rebuilt. Like I said, you can see it moves, but that should move nice and free. That needs to be rebuilt, so I'll probably send that to Power Sports Nation. We'll get that rebuilt. We've got our cylinder here. It doesn't look horrible. The Nicosil in here, like, I don't feel anything. Now, apparently the bike had 170 hours on it, so I think we are going to get this re-Nicosil coated. Here's our clutch cover. I don't see any damage or signs. All of the bearings and stuff, they feel good, man. Like everything in here really feels good. It's cool how compact this is. Again, I'm not used to working on, well, one, dirt bikes, but also KTMs. This is the first KTM. Well, that's actually not true. I've done stuff on an SX85, but totally different platform. First four-stroke KTM I've ever messed with. Really, really compact. It's cool to see these designs and how they differ from the Japanese bikes. The head right here. We'll take a look at the head and the clutch together. Let's first have a look at our head here. See what our cam journals look like. Let's see, does this pop off in one piece? That's what it looks like. So, oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see up here. It's scored up. It's not terrible. You can feel it though. Like if you look at this front one, that one's nice and smooth, and this back one is no good. These ones on this side, not so bad, but this definitely you can see was starved of oil, and this should probably be replaced. I'm assuming it's going to be the same. Yeah, in here you can see getting some wear. These other ones, not so bad. I'm looking at the way this KTM works. I see there's shims in here. There's one right there that popped out. And it looks like they have like these, instead of cam caps or shim buckets, they have like little rocker arm kind of deals. That's pretty cool though. You just lift that up and you can switch out whatever shim you need. I'm trying to see. These all pretty much look okay. You know, if you polished this, you could probably make this work, but it's a racing engine. Really, this needs to be replaced. I'm not sure. I guess you could shave those out. They probably have like brass inserts or something. You could send this off to get it repaired. The valves down here look good. Oop, there's our shim just popped out. But for the most part, though, this head actually isn't that bad. To be determined. We'll see what it costs to replace that. A lot of times, this stuff can be fixed, but it's actually cheaper to replace it. So here's our cylinder. I think you could use this if you really wanted to. I don't think it's in need of repair or anything. You can even still see cross-hatching in there. This is actually, I'm surprised how good of condition this is. I mean, this supposedly has 170 hours on it. I don't know if they changed the cylinder out at any point, but you gotta love Nicosil, man. You can see the piston. It definitely has some wear. You can feel some grooves on the outside. So I don't know if that's just from the 170 hours or if that's also a result of, what happened with the oil pump. Maybe a little bit of both. It's actually not in horrible condition, though. Like, again, this could probably be reused. We're just not going to do that because we're bringing this thing. We want this thing to be 100%. But not as much damage as I thought there'd be. Oh, and the cams to go with the head. You can see the same thing. There's just a little bit of wear. And back here, you can barely feel it. Another one of those items, you could probably run this and be okay. But we're going to replace these cams just to be safe. Really, really fine amount of wear. It looks like the cam lobes in the back were starved of oil a little bit longer than the ones in the front. The front ones actually feel like they're fine. You can see the decompression mechanism here. Different system than what I usually see on Japanese bikes. Really interesting seeing the difference. All right, and now the clutch. The clutch, bro. So it had a recluse in there, and already I am seeing some stuff, some evidence. See the curling aluminum, and it looks like it's chewed up under. I don't think it's supposed to have a lip like that. I think it was eating into this pressure plate, all of them, yep. And I guess that caused enough aluminum shavings that it, oh yeah, look at our steel here. You can see these must have been digging in to that pressure plate. And it's discolored. It looks like it saw some heat. And here is the actual recluse. I think this is like an auto clutch. And I'm not 100% sure how these work. I think it works under centrifugal force. You can see it's like spring loaded. And when you're at lower RPMs, I think it releases a little bit. So it's like you're holding the clutch just a little bit so that your bike doesn't stall out. But you can see these are worn. So I guess this probably created metal shavings too. Otherwise, it looks okay. And it looks like the torque drive pack from Recluse. They have these fancy discs. These seem lightweight too. I wonder if these are made of normal steel. I mean, this feels pretty good. The plates are in good condition. These torque drive packs are awesome. You know, all of this had oil on it. I think it was really the top end that got starved. This clutch pack actually, that may be okay. We've got our inner hub here. I don't see any signs of damage. I mean, I don't know if I'm missing something here. It doesn't take much though, just that little bit on the pressure plate. That's enough to clog an oil pump. And if the oil pump's not pumping oil, this is in good shape. The fingers are all in really, really good shape. I don't feel any grooving at all. I don't know if this is like billet steel. Very interesting, like the gear is integrated into the basket. Usually, like on a Japanese bike, the gear is pressed on the back or it's riveted to the back. This is very interesting. I think it's all in the name of keeping things lightweight and compact. Very, very cool. Looks like we've got a sleeve in here, probably with a bearing. Yep, we'll leave that in there. But I don't think this doesn't need to be replaced. This is good. Now, there may be more than meets the eye here, but at a glance, it looks like we're in pretty good shape. I mean, the cases are in really good shape. That's a huge win. We've got the crank that needs to be rebuilt. That's not that big of a deal. The cylinder and piston, they're in good shape, but that's not expensive to replace. And then we've got our head. Even if we have to replace this, I don't think that's going to be crazy expensive, at least not so expensive that it makes this deal not worth it. So we're going to look into that. And then the clutch, I mean, the clutch is not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. It looks like basically the pressure plate needs to be replaced. We'll see about if we're going to run a Recluse again or if we'll just go with the traditional style, but I don't think that's going to be really an expensive thing to, even if I have to replace that entire thing. The rest of the engine looks like it's in really good shape. Now, Mike told me that the quote to fix this thing, guys, I hope you're sitting down, was $8,000, just under $8,000. And now you got to remember, he gave him the whole bike. So that includes removing the engine from the machine, doing all the work, replacing, paying for all the parts, paying for all the labor, and then putting the engine back in the bike, making sure it runs and everything. So that's a lot of labor. And labor is just really, really expensive. The other thing to consider is that a professional shop is going to lean more towards replacing parts rather than repairing and reusing some of the old stuff. So like, for example, this piston probably can be reused. You might have to clean it up a little bit, and you might get a ton of life left on this thing, but the chances of failure are going to be higher. So for a shop, if they were to reuse a part like that to save you money, and then the piston fails, a lot of customers, they could come back and say it's on the dealership or the service center and that they should have replaced it. So most of the time, if you take your engine or dirt bike, whatever, to a place to get it repaired, they're going to lean towards replacing a lot of the parts as opposed to reusing. And that is going to reflect the cost of repair. So I really do respect Mike for, telling me offhand. He's like, dude, you're going to want to look into the parts and see how much it is to fix because you're looking at a lot of money here. So, I paid $2,200 for the bike. We'll say $8,000 for the repair. And sometimes when they do the repairs, it ends up being more money because it's just an estimate. So let's just say, together that would be $10,200. And it is kind of weird because it looks like the 2018 350 XCF at an MSRP of $10,199. What are the odds that it is the exact same cost for the purchase price that I had of $2,200 plus the $8,000 repair price? Interesting. Now we're entering new bike territory. For $10,500, you can go out and leave with a brand new KX250, CRF 250, even a KTM. And so you'd be in $10,500 and you have a bike that's 6 years old with 170 hours on it. It's, for most people, this is not worth saving. Now, for somebody like me who's doing my own work, so I don't really have to worry about labor, this is perfect. So this is gonna be an awesome project for us. Let's hop over to the computer. I'm really curious to see about what it's gonna be for these parts, at least for what meets the eye right now. Okay, so the first thing I wanna look into is the cylinder head, because I have a feeling that's gonna be really expensive. So we're here on eBay, the #1 sponsor of the channel. Not really, but we're gonna look up KTM 350 XCF head. Now, I did scoot around on the internet a little bit before I turned the camera on, and there's really not much out there. This is the only thing that I found. It was a cylinder head that is $650 or best offer. It looks like it was refinished, but it is used, and I don't think it has new valve guides or anything like that, and it comes with valves, but they're used, and in the description, it literally says, excellent condition head, used valves, shows signs of wear. See pictures, what you see is what you get. Bare head with cam caps and covers. So I don't know, for $650, I'm not sure that's gonna be worth getting a used head that's got used valve guides and stuff like that, even though it looks like it's in really good shape. So I hopped over to look at some brand new OEM parts. Now, typically I would use Partzilla. You guys know I've recently been working with them, but Partzilla does not offer KTM. So in this case, I went to Scott Power Sports. Scott is where I bought my brand new KX250X, if you guys saw that video. Awesome dealership, and when I was there, I learned that they have their own parts providing service for OEM parts. So we're here on the scottpowersports.com website, and we're gonna go to parts, shop OEM parts, and they've got a whole interface for Husqvarna, and KTM. Those are the two primary ones that make this Scott Power Sports special. So we're gonna go to KTM OEM parts, motorcycle. Geez, I'm not used to going as new as 2018. And then we've got the 350 XCF. So you can see they've got the breakdown and schematics, just like Partzilla on here. Oh, here we go, cylinder head. And they've got the whole breakdown here of parts. You can zoom in, see what you need. And we've got the whole head as an assembly right here as #1. You can see it looks like it comes with brand new valve guides and the cam covers, or cam cap. That's what we need. #1, it is $688.11. The price difference there, we'll probably just go brand new. So that's $688.11. And then of course we've got the cams. So if we come down here, I know they've got the cams in here somewhere, and I don't think that they're going to be cheap. Got valve drive. Here we go. Cams are right here. Timing drive. So here's the cams, #1 and #2. 178.67, 245.43. Together that's going to be like $450, man. And then we might as well get a new timing chain while we're in here. That's definitely something I want to replace. That's #16. Oh my gosh, almost $100. So just in the KTM OEM parts that we know we need already, we're getting pretty expensive. Now the clutch would be expensive as well. However, I did manage to find one on eBay. So that's gonna save us some money. Now for the piston and the crank, I'm gonna go with Wassner. Wassner is, from what I understand, a really well-known name when it comes to the Austrian bikes, the KTMs and the gases, the Italian bikes. So they have the high compression piston here, a standard compression piston, and they've got a crank kit and a gasket kit for the top end. So I'd like to get all that stuff. So the standard compression piston is the way that I want to go. It's $190, basically $200, and we'll get it in the standard 87.95 millimeter bore. I'll send this off to get it re-Nicocel coated, and it'll be a fresh bore fitted right to this piston. It'll be like brand spanking new. Then we'll go to the crank rod right here, $225 about, and we'll send it to Power Sports Nation, get the crank rebuilt. That'll be like brand new. And then we've got their gasket kit right here. It's about $75. So at least from what I see right now, including the clutch kit that I got on eBay for $100, we should be able to get this engine back together. So I made a spreadsheet here with our cost breakdown so far. We've got the head, which is the most expensive. It says $729. So it said $688 on the website. All of these are factoring in tax. So this is gonna be a realistic cost of what it's gonna be to actually bring this engine back to life. life. So the head is $729.39. The camshafts are $449.54, and this is basically, we're assuming that we can reuse the valves. That's probably going to be pretty expensive if we have to replace those. The cylinder replating is $399.95. That's going to be done by Millennium Services through Power Sports Nation. The crank rebuild kit, that is from Wassner. After tax, it's $235. Crank rebuild, I'm going to send it to Power Sports Nation. That's about $200. The piston kit is Wassner, $210. Clutch assembly, that came with an inner hub, outer hub, basket, and even the clutch plates. I discovered that clutch setup is very common across several different Husqvarnas and KTMs. It goes in a couple different sizes. I think it's in the 250 SXF, 250 XCF, 350 SX. I don't know if there's an SX in that, but it's in a number of machines and a couple different brands. So because of that, I think it's kind of common. And I got it at $100. It looks like brand new. So that was a huge savings right there. It was only $100. Timing chain is about $100. The top end gasket is about $80. So we are in total parts right now, $2,500. We've already spent more than what we spent on the bike. So the bike was $2,200, the parts were $2,500. Total, we're in this $4,700. Now the total after profit, that is because some of the stuff on the bike I might be able to sell. And at the end of the project, maybe we'll subtract that and see what the total cost is. So $4,700, you can see what Mike, the seller, was getting at. You know, we're already kind of expensive here. For $5,000, you can go on Marketplace and pick up a KTM that you could probably hop on and ride right away. So I do see where he was coming from and definitely appreciate that. But we love a good restoration here at the shop, so this is a good one for us. Now, what would a special build be without some performance parts? So we're not going to put any of that in stone just yet, but I'm thinking a Vortex ignition and a factory 4.1 exhaust is definitely in order because, well, it's just freaking cool. And it's going to sound good, and more importantly, it's going to look good. But I think these 350s are pretty powerful out of the box. I'm not a very experienced dirt bike rider, and I'd really like to kind of see what the baseline is. I have a feeling that the Vortex really wakes these things up. So maybe we'll build it with the factory CDI on there and then switch it over to a Vortex and see how much that changes it. That's a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to do later on down the line. There's a lot of other modifications and stuff that we're going to do. And let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's go take a look at the roller. I think we've got a pretty good plan for how we're going to take on this engine build. Now let's take a look at this roller and see what we got going on there. Now I haven't actually taken time to, go around this thing and get a good look at it. I kind of like to do that in real time with you guys. I'm not sure if we're going to keep this headlight for this build design. Yes, that is definitely something good to have, but it can also be one of those things where if I'm planning on night riding, I think this is pretty easy to switch out. Like not completely delete it, but just make it so that all you have to do is plug it in and switch out that number plate. Most likely what I'll do. I really like the look of like the motocross bikes, so probably we'll get rid of that. We've got this second seat up here. This is the skinny seat, and you can actually take this off and have a look under here. We've got those two seats right there. This one is just thicker. It's like a taller and I think softer foam, but probably I will like the shorter seat better, just again because I'm not the tallest person in the world. And in here we've got our battery because this is electric start. It looks like a stock CDI, so I'm not sure. This bike might be like performance-wise, except for the clutch, pretty much all stock. Got our fuel pump and stuff, and here's on the tank. Mike was telling me there's a bunch of stuff on here where like the technician would write whatever he was doing, so you could see new, maybe fuel filter at 63.2 hours. That was in 2020. TG, it looks like it says, probably the technician. And I saw up here, it does have 170.5 hours on this machine. So, I mean, is that a lot of hours? I don't know, because, I mean, I don't really ride that much. That's something I'd like to change, but, 170 hours to me seems like a lot. But then if you think about it, if you're riding an hour a day, if you're living someplace where, you have a place to ride right there by the house, in half a year you'd put 170 hours on. So I don't really know. But all this stuff, I mean, it looks pretty good under here. These plastics will be going. There is a taillight back here. That's another one of those things. I don't know that I would want to get rid of that. Maybe for the series, I'll take that off because I'm not the biggest fan of the look, and that's something I can always put back on there, but I don't know that I really need a brake light. He probably had that on there. You might need to have that for enduro racing. I know like with the side-by-sides, you have to have a brake light back here. These rims are in good shape. They're mismatched. We've got a silver Excel in the back, and I believe a black Excel in the front. These gummy tires, dude, these are
super, super soft. Mike was saying that he loves these tires. I can't believe how soft they are. He said they wear out really quick, though. Those are Kendas. Not 100% sure what tire I want to run. It is going to be more of an enduro build, so if you guys have suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below, just for like intermediate terrain, not like heavy rocks or like anything crazy like that. Disc brake looks like it's actually not bad, but I'll probably replace that. Got a Brembo brake back here. Pegs I will probably replace, not just because they're bent, but these look like the stock pegs, and I want to get some really nice aggressive pegs. Frame looks pretty good. Our controls up here. I don't know if this is stock or not. It looks like the maps. I see 1, 2, and TC is probably traction control. So that's pretty cool. You can change the maps, probably like an aggressive and a not aggressive. These clamps look like some sort of anti-vibe, like stabilizer bar clamps. I see the rubber here. I don't see a marking on them. Me and Mike were looking at them. We weren't even sure, what brand or if they're custom. If you guys know, again, let me know in the comment section below. Everything up here looks pretty good. We'll put new grips. I mean, everything's going to be pretty much new on these things. And then the forks up here. We've got the triple tree clamps in black. I think that was OEM on KTM. And our forks, we've got a little bit of leakage going on. You can see on the floor. Every time I move this thing, I see little puddles. Definitely the fork seals are gone. So I may actually try to rebuild these forks myself because apparently they are valved and sprung. So in the 2018, these KTMs had air forks, and a lot of people like to take out that and put springs in them. Apparently that's already been done on these, but I may actually give these things a go at rebuilding them because they are set up for about my weight. Oh, and then up here, if you see where this radiator mounts, there's steel. He said there was a bolt in there that was stuck, and he just cut it off because he didn't think anybody was going to be saving this frame. He thought it was going to be parted out. That's an easy fix, though. We're going to be powder coating the frame anyways, so I'll just go ahead and fix that before we powder coat it. Once we coat it up, you'll never even know it was there. One thing I do want to do, though, is just sit on this thing because it really does look like it's a little bit lower than normal, like a full-size dirt bike. The back tire is kind of low, so I'm taking that into account. But it just looks like it's a good size. So it definitely feels good, and this is going to be really nice. The kickstand, I've never had a dirt bike with a kickstand, not a full-size dirt bike anyways, and that's just going to be so nice on the trails. It sucks when you have to like push it over to a tree or something and lean it up or put it up against your buddy's quad, and it's just going to be nice to have that. But this feels like it's just a good size bike for me. I'm super excited for this, man. There's one other thing I want to do with you guys before I let you go. I want to open up this binder. KTMs come with these really nice like binder things. You can see it right on there, man. It says 350 XCF because it's got the VIN number on there and stuff. So I'll bring you in here. Let's check it out together. It's very cool that Mike had all this stuff and included it with the bike. And when I opened this up, I found something really cool. So here is the CO and the paperwork. And this is what's so cool, man. Bromley Suzuki. That's my local dealer. Like when I talk about going to these dealerships and looking at machines as a kid, Bromley Suzuki is where I used to go. They're Suzuki, KTM, and Polaris, or they were anyways, and Victory. And this is probably one of the last bikes that they ever sold because they went out of business during COVID. And this says it was sold on March 27th of 2021. So this is literally probably one of the last bikes that they had in there. You can see he paid $6,500 for it. This isn't the original bill of sale, of course. He was the second owner. But it's just really cool. I may have actually looked at this when it was on the showroom floor. I kid you not, man. I used to go to Bromley's on a regular basis. Like at least once a month I was in there just checking out the bikes. Really cool. Oh, you can see he bought it with 103.2 hours on it. Pretty cool. Yeah, man. And then this is the book that Mike was talking about. So this was Hank's personal technician. So I don't know if this is the last time he put an entry to February 15th, 2019, or, I'm not sure. But in here, he literally has every little change that they made. I mean, I'm not going to read all this stuff, but every little change they made is in here. You can see like the PSI and the forks. So that's back when they were air shocks. They were making little changes, and probably Hank would go out riding, come back and say, like, I don't like the way it's doing this. I don't like the way it's doing that. Here's like after a race. It looks like second place in the 55-plus category. It looks like recluse installed, all kinds of stuff like that. Just a whole book filled with information. To me, that is very, very cool. And then some other stuff in here. I don't really think there's too much crazy. This is like some kind of tools, it looks like. And then the manuals, I think we've got an owner's manual and a service manual. So yeah, here's the owner's manual right here, brand new. I mean, this looks like, this doesn't ever look like it was touched. I don't really know if this is like a service manual or what. Ready to race. Oh, this is just like a, really, he could have taken this right here instead of using this. This is like a, it's like a notebook. That's very cool. KTM, man, going the extra mile. I remember with my 85 SX, I got one of these also. It wasn't quite as nice as this, but it was pretty close to it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I love sharing this stuff with you guys. I enjoyed hanging out with Mike and George and meeting those guys. This is an awesome experience. Oh, look at this, dude. Check that out. There's a KTM pen. That's probably worth $2,200 alone. Yeah, but I mean, I just really enjoy this stuff, and I'm happy to be able to share it with you guys. I'm super excited for this build. I've got a color scheme and everything in mind. We'll probably do that in the next episode. Dude, this thing is going to look freaking sick, and it's going to be really unique. I already bought the plastics, man. I just can't. Dude, I think I get the most excited for the design of these projects, man. Like, getting that idea of what it's going to look like, I just get so freaking excited. I can't wait to share it with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out tremendously. And for more videos like this, consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. I've got a ton of parts to order and a lot of stuff to do. I love you guys. I am starving. I'm going to go get some food. Peace out.